also known as Super God Jinrai set. This set came out a couple years ago, and you could buy it either as a complete set or as 2 individual pieces. Now these are custom pieces. I might do another video talking about these. I basically went in and painted them completely, and I kept the boxes because I got both of these as a set. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I get to the upgrade stuff, which is over here. But for now, we'll just focus on this guy. So basically, this guy is 2 separate bots that combine into one. And right now, we've got God Jinrai in his in his convoy form. Now, in this form, he's quite long. Let's see, on the measuring mat here, he is around 420 millimeters long, so that's 42 centimeters long. That's a decent size. I'm not going to convert that to inches because I'm in New Zealand. We don't do that here. He's got quite a few accessories here. There's going to be more when we get to the upgrade stuff. But let's start off with his guns that he comes with out of the box. He's got these 2 twin cannons. He's got these 2 pistols that can combine. And that's the Optimus, or as in Japan, the Super Jinrai section. Back here, God Bomber, or Apex Armor as everyone else knows him, has this big huge missile launcher on the back which can move a little bit but doesn't really stay. He's also got these big cannons here, and he's got these smaller cannons that can point up. But that's more for the robot modes. Now it's quite articulated. Got a really nice swivel here, a little bit of pivot here. At the moment this is not actually attached. Out of the box it comes attached with a little mushroom and screw, which makes it more solid if you haven't got the upgrade kits, and it makes it very solid for the base mode. But the reason why I detached it is because the upgrade kit, you are required to detach it because the upgrade kits comes with an entire new cab. Speaking of the upgrade kit, here's the new cab that comes with the upgrade kit. As you can see, it is very G1 inspired and very inspired by the Japanese Master Force show. If we compare that to the version that it came with, this is the Japanese version. You can tell by the fact it has a more clean, cohesive front that doesn't have these big spiky bits that the American and other international release had. I have done a little bit of custom work on this, like the silver here. This was all blue before. The wheels came painted, which was nice. All of this stuff all came painted up apart from this silver here, and that silver bit, but everything else is painted. Clear windows. The silver outline on these wipers did not come like that out of the box, I don't believe. No, they didn't. And also these bits on the top were also just red. So this is quite nice. I think I prefer this one though. It's got the painted in windows. The separate versions of this, the windows came painted. So this is the only way you can actually get this set with the clear windows. Now if you look inside, you can see there is his headmaster there. The Jinrai headmaster. He has a seat inside of there. Now, this version is a little bit harder to open. So we do this. And it just has his normal super robot head there, and there is no seat. I'd usually recommend to have this on its side instead of face down, because there is a button that will turn on his eyes, and you don't want to accidentally press that. So I usually turn his head to the side before I bring this down. Now there is a Jinrai for this as well, and and we'll leave this like this. You swing this around, and this is the main reason why I got this upgrade kit, because this can be a bit fiddly. It can do the full Power Master thing. Now this Jinrai is really nice. This is by Perfect Effect, by the way. This whole upgrade kit is by Perfect Effect. But here we have a little Jinrai, and he's got ball joints here. He's got ball jointed knees, and you can kick up at the hips. It can swing out a little bit because of its transformation. That's pretty much it. It's a little fragile. Perfect Effect pieces normally are a little fragile, but they look amazing. Of course, you'll notice there's quite a lot of like panel line work on all of this. I basically went over with a wash to try and accentuate the detail. Before, this was all just a flat grey, but now it's, you know, got all these panel lines that you can see separated. Now, originally this guy had no way to interact with this, but I've done some work to it and gave him 2 little holes, which means he can actually peg in to the Power Master ports that all of the headmasters have. So bring in like a brawl here. By the way, I've separated all my headmasters' legs so they can actually walk, so they can all interact. So if you've got a bunch of different guys from the other line, they can all interact. Now this guy does combine like with this guy, like I've said before. It's very simple. You're going to bring his hips forward, so sitting, swing them to the side, swing this around. Now this bit can be a little bit scary because it squeaks a little bit, and this feels very fragile. And you pegs into the arm. You need to make sure the arm is straight though, because it won't peg in otherwise. And there we go. Now don't worry if it pops off. It should pop back on, and like so. And it's a very interesting pose, but that's very it's very accurate to how it used to be with the original original toy. And then you basically squeeze it in. Now this doesn't like unlock the transformation or anything, you don't need it in for the transformation. But look at that. That is the original Power Master Prime, also known as Super Jinrai. Well, no, this isn't Super Jinrai, this is just Jinrai in his Transtector. And then this is the Super Jinrai part. Now the upgrade parts do also attach to this mode in other ways, so we'll get to that. So these connect at this point here. These have to separate, and you push that in and you squeeze it back together. But it can come off quite easy, as you've just seen. By the way, the way you can tell these apart from the separate releases and the complete box set release is the box set release had chrome for these pieces instead of regular silver. Okay, so here we can just go ahead and actually not do anything, because there's nothing that this guy gets. As for weapons, I don't like to push these in all the way, because I have actually broken one of these. You can see it's a bit messed up. I usually just like to throw them in there. They do rattle around a little bit. You can store these on Apex Armor or God Bomber once you put the upgrade pieces on. And the cool thing is with this guy, he can actually hold all the accessories in Evo mode, pretty much. So start off with these big pieces. By the way, a lot of these upgrade sets were separate releases, and the reason why I have 2 sets of this figure is because the only way I could get the set that came with this little guy, which is very, very rare, was to buy an entire extra set, because the guy selling it did not want to part with just the little guy without the set. Anyway, these peg into there very nicely, and they're given these huge thrusters which look great. You'll notice there are some pegs up here, let's adjust the camera, where you can peg these pieces in. Now it does weigh the wings down a little bit, unfortunately. So there's a peg in there. I think the reason why I broke this piece originally is because I pushed it into here and it was too tight. So I wouldn't recommend try pushing these into there. It's not worth the risk. I did kind of lie about the fact there weren't any upgrade pieces for this bit. There is one, but we'll get to that for robot mode. Actually, I lied. There's actually 3 pieces for that. There are some 5 fillers, which we'll also get to in robot mode. There are these 2 big guns, and this huge sword, and this smaller gun. Now, there is these pieces as well, which will come into robot mode, but for now, just swing those out a bit. You can peg these in, let's see, this way. They don't push in very far, and I wouldn't try to force it in too far, but there they go. They're just going like that. This allows you to then put these giant guns in here, and then the sword has a smaller peg this side and a bigger peg this side. You can tell by the hole in the middle, that's bigger and that's smaller, and the bigger one should just peg into, actually I believe it goes this way, there you go, there's a port right there, and it all pegs together. Now unfortunately this doesn't really have a place to go. You can kind of rest it on there, but since that's a smaller peg, it's quite loose. You can put it in here, but that's quite loose. Put it in here, in here, it doesn't really work. So what I usually do with this is I just throw it in there, and then you have Apex armor, pretty much all the parts apart from the one gun, which is actually for this guy. So it works quite well. I'm not going to peg those together, but you can get the idea of what the whole upgrade set looks like in its vehicle mode, and it looks really, really cool. Right, let's move on to, let's see, we'll get into this guy's ultimate mode first. I will say there is a base mode for all of this. I can do the base mode for this, but this guy's a little bit more tricky. I'll try to do it in a minute, but you know, we'll do the base mode for this. I'll show this as well. You can use this for the base mode, but it's not as good as this was, mainly because this was actually attached in the original piece with that screw and mushroom peg that I mentioned before. So we'll go through the steps and you'll see what I mean. So you start off by removing these. You start to unpeg everything. Now I'm not going to go through this transformation in intricate detail because that will take forever. These clip in like that. These ratchet up. And that's pretty much like the first step of it. You know, you got all these big pieces separated. Here's the piece that will be replaced in robot mode. So this is going to go up like this for now. And then these separate. I believe they ratchet out. They twist. Okay, so they go all the way out. You need to make sure this is all straight. Unfortunately, okay, no, nothing wrong there. You just do this. Let's see. Actually, I think these come forwards. They're slightly forwards leaning. kind of want to get these out of the way for the moment. But just do that because this is going to unpeg from inside here, swing around. I believe you are meant to peg it in like in robot mode. There you go. And then you have this like ramp here. Now you can do it like this, or you can do it like this, and this will actually peg into Fortress Maximus and all the other leaders that came out at the same time, leader class figures. So we do this, swing this around, and peg it in. Now this is where you can get a little creative with how many ratchets it goes on. I don't really feel like it looks good in any particular way. There we go, almost there. Now here's where you take the original one, because it has this swing down piece which was specifically designed for this mode, so this can actually sit more straight, but it actually flops a little bit. So that's pretty much the gist of the base mode. As you can see, it doesn't quite, nothing ever quite feels straight. It always feels slightly off to me. And this being actually plugged in helps make that a little bit more stable. The American or worldwide release had a peg here, which allowed you to peg one of these in. But for now, you can just peg them in like this. This is where some Power Masters, Prime Masters can sit. This is also where you will decide where you're going to put these guns. There we go. They can go up here, in here. The way they combine is like this. Once again, a Power Master or Time Master can sit in there, like so. You can't really hold this in any sort of mode though. You can in robot mode, but it looks a little weird like that, because it's got this big hollow bit on the back. What I wish is that it could do this. Like, that would be a really cool gun. However, that's what this can do. So we're just going to carefully plug these in. Like so. Now we can actually use this, but it doesn't have that standoff piece. So it will sit a little off. And I prefer having it interacting with this setup. Alright, now this also doesn't really have a place to go. I'm just going to put it aside for now. This guy is very, very different when it comes to this base mode. It's a little bit complex. In fact, I'm going to get the instructions because I believe this interacts with it somehow. So bear with me 1 second. I have this big drawer full of instructions over here. Should have done this before stream, but I was thinking I could get away with it, but obviously not. Let's see, that's not it. else. Something else. Definitely not it. What the hell is that? Nope, that's something else. Oh, I did find it. I didn't think I would, but I did. I have it all in this this bag here with my other Japanese release figures. We do have this guy here as well. Oh, that fell on the floor. Can you tell I've never done a live review before? Here we go. Here you can actually see the original name. This was released out as LGEX. It's got it right. I think it comes with this little pamphlet and like that. We have the Perfect Effect 15 set, which came with the LED eyes and the little guy here. We have the, let's see what this is, the Perfect Effect 16, which tells you how everything can interact with each other and how it is meant to work with the bigger figure, and that's actually the original figure with the extra pieces on. This guy was actually called Transfer. I don't know if that's what they're calling this, or if they're calling the little guy Transfer. Also, okay. And then we have the last of the Perfect Effect upgrade kits, which just tells you how to install them for the individual sets as well. Tells you how it interacts with the figure there, which we'll get into in a bit. Alright, so the actual base mode, actually does this say about base mode real quick? Hold on. Because I don't know if it does. It does not say anything about base mode here, I don't think. No. But it does say about some things that I will talk about. Oh, that's how that's meant to interact. I've never, okay. You can tell I've never really looked at these instructions very much before. I just sort of watched some YouTube videos. Okay, so here's the actual, you know, main instructions, and they're huge. This is A2 size, and this goes through all the steps of the robot mode. It shows the base mode for Prime here. Interestingly enough, they show you're actually meant to display this open, like so. Move on from that and let's see. Okay, the base mode for God Bomber. Okay, that's simpler than I remembered. Alright. For God Bomber, we're basically just going to start transforming him. Take his part. He is a parts former, by the way, for interacting with this guy in particular, and this base mode is parts forming. Is there anything missing here? Just shows you that. Well, it's a lot simpler than I remember. Okay. These literally just swing down. Like so. You want to bring that like that. This is going to go like this. It's actually going to sit like this. So we're going to do this. This. You'll notice there's these holes. They are actually clips for this guy. Does this foot need to come out? It do. Swing his foot forwards. Or not. Am I missing something? I am. Because you're actually meant to swing his whole big foot out. Ah, okay, there you go. There's just little indents here. And like so. And this actually gives you some ports. Put your guns on. Bear with me. Haven't done this in ages. Because I never really have them in their base mode, even if I'm playing with them. Okay, there we go. This bit you probably want to swing down. And that's basically the base mode, and these parts can interact with things. Oh, there is one more step. You're meant to do this, but I guess this is meant to come out for this mode. And you're meant to just do the whole thing where you plug this back in. And that is how that's meant to go. It's not perfect, but you know, it's not all pegged in. As I was saying before, if we bring this out, these can actually peg together. But you know, you can't really have them right next to each other, so you kind of have to fan mode it a little bit. Actually, if you have this a little bit more, unfortunately these can't go quite straight. If you did have it straight, that would look a little bit more like the G1 toy, which would be nice. So it's like this, and then of course you can still peg in your guns. Your sword you're going to have to get a bit creative with. Guess this actually gives you a spot to put this now. In the foot. And then there you go, it's kind of the base modes, if you will. Do that. These don't hold together all too good. You kind of just gotta hope and pray. Okay, let's just leave those like that for now, and we'll transform this guy. It has a hinge here. It's going to cause everything to come undone, but you want to undo these side bits which peg in there, right? There's this ratchet here which is what keeps messing up. There you go. You can swing these legs down. Very nice. These parts need to fold in a very particular way to allow this hole to get filled in. And there is a little spot where this will click inside the leg. There it goes. Do the same thing on this one. Not the easiest to do through a camera. It's quite hot as well right now in New Zealand, and I don't want to put the fan on because I don't want to make it even worse sounding for you guys, because you already have to listen to my horrible voice. Right, these actually have these little teeth on there. Right, and then this just stays like this for this mode, pretty much. These come out. I do really like how this guy transforms. I believe this, you can go this way, but you have to push it over. That's usually what I do anyway, because I'm lazy. Actually, you don't even need to do that for this mode. What am I on about? around and then peg it all in. Plug in the leg again. And there you go. We have our powered Jinrai, I guess. There we go. Take the gun, which is very G1 Prime, and there you go. Now, this isn't perfect, of course. I really like how it looks, though. They reused this design in another figure release more recently. Things that differ from the original, of course, are the smokestacks. They should be behind, and there should be wheels right here. Apart from that, though, it looks really good. You can keep his Power Master in there or not. Let's keep it in there for now. And it's got really good articulation. You know, you can. It's got ball joints. It's got swivels. It's got hinges. It's got like a swivel and a pivot. It's got ball joint shoulders that can hinge around. You've got swivel and a hinge, swivel and a hinge, and a ball joint. And of course, this amazing ratcheted ab crunch. It's great that a figure of this size has a really nice ab crunch, and this guy is really expressive. He even has extra hands, which I have misplaced. But the extra hands are basically just some expressive hands. So he has like a pointing hand, he has a splayed hand, and of course he has these, which are his fist hand, basically fist hands. And for comparison, because the original one was a headmaster, we'll bring out the Jinrai and the Japanese release. And this is the problem with this guy. If you split legs, is he isn't pinned, so his legs can actually come apart quite easily. Let's carefully put that back together. Most of them are hinged right here at the hips, but you can actually see these two are very, very close. I like that. Good job. Good job, perfect effect. I did give him some little highlights around in silver, but not much. You know, it's the figure's already really good. It came out, and it still is really good. Anyway, so this is basically like to have him interact with him. He's a little big though for this, fortunately. Besides that, though, it's a really good set. Alright, let's move this huge instruction sheet aside, because I know everything else by heart from here on out. And let's get on to the main event, which is actually his big combined mode. So I'll just separate these for now. Move this aside. And we're going to focus on this. So we're going to take off the accessories. Now again, this should stay attached between all the modes in the original figure release. So just imagine it here. It has this sort of sliding mechanism where it locks in and you can pull it up so it can swivel. So for this guy, we're going to bring out this, which is his super mode head. It looks a little hollow. That's because his Power Master, his Titan Master, Headmaster, actually it goes in this way, and then you can spin around, bring it in, just on a bunch of hinges, so you can actually line that up better. Even then it's quite dark. We'll get back to that in a minute. For this is almost actually done. Swing these around, swing this down. Now with this, basically be attached here. You want it on its inwards configuration, so they're close as possible. You would unpeg and swing this, bring that in, bring that down, swing that all forwards, and then slot this whole section into the front. His arms come down, this comes up, clips in. Very cool mechanism they managed to figure out here with all of this. Oh, you also want to make sure these are actually finished in all the way before you bring those up. Now, last things to do are his legs. We bring in this, swing it around, up, ankle comes out, clips, that comes up, this comes around, and all pegs in. Same thing on the other side, swing out, swing out, swing out, click, swing, comes up, pegs in, and then we have our base Power Master. Last thing we do is we put in those iconic shoulder cannons. And there we go, we have our Super Jinrai, also known as Power Master Prime. And he looks pretty faithful. I added in the black on the arms and of course all the panel lining. And he looks really good. I'm really happy with this. We won't get into articulation just yet because we're going to put the upgrade kit on. So we'll start off with the thighs. These are the easiest. We've got two pieces here, basically to fill these gaps up. You want to take the piece that's like that, very easily pegs in. Perfect color match, which is something Perfect Effect is really good at, is the color matching. And that just fills in those. Now for the actual main part of it, you can take this all off, and we're going to want to replace this chest piece here. You push forwards, and then we push on, and now we have this big hollow bit and these black bits painted in, and we'll compare them real quick. It's the original, it's like the actual like Power Master part, it's actually molded in. This we know it's got a separate figure for that actually properly pegs in. So this guy, we're basically going to transform him into truck mode again, but before we do that, actually we want to get his super robot head out, like so. These come in, very simple. By the way, you can tell by how rough I'm being with this figure, it is quite durable. Bring that forwards, that clips in there, nice and solid. Legs go together. Make sure they're nice and straight though. And then we want to unclip these. These have their own spots they peg into. And bring all of this all the way up. We're not going to peg it in there because we're actually going to do this and this like that. But before that, you want to probably bring these around. Now you can, before you flip out the head, you can actually swing it around the other way, so you don't have to flex these pieces, but I'm being lazy. There we go. And you actually want to have it like this. Silver bits on the back. Open this. In it goes. There's actually a hole for vehicle and robot mode. You can put in that robot mode hole. You're going to see these parts are going to come over this. Make sure that's pegged in correctly, and then you can turn on his eyes. And look at that. Isn't that awesome? Like, that is the original Power Master-esque design. It has like the little sort of slopes that the cartoon had with its very anime-esque proportions. Now, big criticism of this is his feet. He doesn't really have proper feet. He has these like hooves. I don't mind so much because I usually don't display them in this mode. Even when I do, it doesn't look that bad. And they do look like they're just the top of feet, and he's just missing the toes, which you get those in his Super Robot mode. Let's just compare these heads real quick, and we'll actually put on the front piece so you can actually see what it looks like. It's quite the improvement, I'd say, especially with these painted in windows now, which the sets, the individual releases actually had painted windows. Okay, so his guns do store in this mode, or interact, should I say. Of course, you can hold these. You can hold this, but I usually have it pegged into a foot. The other accessories we will get into in the Super Robot mode. Turn that off for now because we're about to do God Bomber, aka Apex Armor. So, same thing with Optimus, we're going to take the guns off. We're actually going to take them all off. I'm going to take this section. And that's pretty much it, except for how this was before. You actually want to take this out, take that off, put it back, and then this goes in there, and this was the original sword that the figure had. Of course, we have an upgraded sword, which is really cool. Like, this is it's like a dagger or a letter opener. You know, I've actually used this to open a letter once. So the actual figure itself, I'm actually going to put it in its vehicle mode first, because it can transform without parts forming, apart from his head, because he's a headmaster. But if you want to count this as if you want to count that as parts forming, then you have to count every single headmaster ever as a parts former. Let's see, what am I doing wrong? Do you have to? So you do this, there you go, and this goes in. Oh wow, that is interesting. Alright, I'm going to very carefully, so do this off camera. See what I was doing wrong here. There we go. I'm going to have to glue that piece in. That's never happened, it's just, if you do get resistance, don't force it like I did. Like so, bring the foot up. These parts come off easy. We'll get back to those in a minute. Alright. Peg together. That will explain a little bit. They are both upside down. I am an idiot. Do not do as I do. Beautifully round ratchets. Okay, so this is the orientation that you want to have them. So you want to have it wheels down, this piece down, this piece in, this piece up. In, click. Try not to send it flying off. In. These go together nice and securely. This goes back in like that. There you go. Now you want to make sure these are actually pushed down like that. These actually click in. There's a bunch of pieces that click in and peg in up here. You want to make sure these are in the flat configuration up here because these hinge around. This pegs on the inside and on the outside, and then clicks into place. We'll take these off so you can actually see what it's like without the upgrade kit in its robot mode. There you go. And there. Okay. Adjust this now. Like I said, you take that off. You have your base form, not your base mode, but your most basic form. Let's just show what's inside here first. Now, if you got the box set version, which came with both of these figures together with the chrome and everything, you also got all of these headmasters. Now these are really cool. This guy is new, but of course we had Jinrai. In the original Japanese cartoon or anime, we had actually 3 main Power Masters, so Jinrai and these 2. We have our Minerva. That's not Minerva. Nightbeat. I don't remember the names. And these do actually work. That's Minerva. These do actually work for the other headmasters that had these figures, which I think came out in Japan. You got all this nice like detail in here. You got all this molding and these missiles and this grating. It looks really cool. Anyway, you can leave those in apart from this guy, which we'll need for his headmaster, and he is that sort of that leader scale headmaster sort of thing, where he's got the really big face, as opposed to the more Voyager size figures. So you want to undo these parts, which is easier said than done. There you go. Unpeg. So basically just reversing, going into that mode that I did before, like that. Come out. These come out too. So you want to actually swing this down, swing this up. You can force it to come up, but it makes noises that do not sound good. By the way, this can actually fold in, and of course you can see these wings are on this wall, so you can have it in its flying mode that it sometimes had in the cartoon. Those beautiful sounding ratchets. You want to have these open, bring this up like so, and these actually secure it in the side, and you can actually see already we have most of the robot. So we swing these around, have this in its up or the most collapsed position, make sure that's straight, make sure it's straight. Individual robot mode shoes, feet, separates. Let's try and do this as straight as possible. There we go. There we go. Now for his feet. His feet? No, these are his hands. Out they come. Make sure that's actually not coming apart. There we go. It's a lot easier to mess with this guy when you're not doing it through your phone camera. There we go. Alright. These do ratchet out very nicely. Take your headmaster, click him in, and then this is a helmet. Goes like so. Now these parts do actually click into this. We'll get to that in a second, but we'll just look at him unupgraded first. And that is almost it. We have this that has a little, there is a little slot in there, and there is a peg on his hand. And we're just gonna peg that in there. And there you go. You've got God Bomber next to Super Jinrai, and they're about the same height. Very nice. He's got a decent width with his wings like this. Original toy. Had it like this. I think the cartoon was like that as well. If you really want to have them just away, you can just sort of do that. You can kind of bring them in like that, and you can just forget about them. And it looks really nice and cleaned up like that. Now, upgrade parts. Sorry for bumping the camera real quick. There you go. Now, upgrade parts. We have these pieces, and then these pieces, and the accessories. Let's start off. I'm just going to take that off for now. I'm actually going to take that off because we'll get back to that in a second. We're going to just open these up again. And then these parts, you want to make sure you get the one that looks like this. It pegs in there and actually fills out the big gap here. So this is all a big gap before, and that's got filled in, and it's a lot more solid. So we have your big gap. Open it up. Slot it in and that. Now for the wings. We can put on the correct wing piece. Like so. Again, it's a lot easier when you're not doing this with your arms stretched out. And you'll notice these are actually, they look like they're upside down in this mode, which is a drawback to this, because the big thrusters are the wrong way around, which is a little unfortunate. Alright, and the reason why I took this off is because it's actually going to store back into here. So you have your hilt, like so. This does have like a little notch here, which I never figured out what that was for. Alright. Carefully slide this in because it's chrome. That's a bit of weight to it. We'll get to that. In super mode, sword has these notches. Go like that. Big guns. They show you, let's have a look at this. The instructions have it on there in a particular way, I believe. That is combined mode. Without separate mode. Right. I actually show you putting them in here, which is very tight. I'm not going to push that any more than I have. There we go. Have those on the wrong way around. Hold on. This guy gets a bit heavy. With all these accessories on. Let's peg them back together. This is the sort of shit I would cut out of a proper review, but since I'm doing it live, you just gotta bear with me, unfortunately. What is wrong with you? There we go. There we go. And he looks like he can bomb God. There you go. Alright, let's go to that articulation real quick. Oh boy, this is it's already been almost an hour. Oh god. Okay. Up and down. Out. Gonna take these off. These get out of the way. So it can go really far out. About 90 degrees, full swivel. Of course it will extend for super mode. Waist does not swivel because of this whole contraption. Ratchets, ratchets, and a swivel. Head's on, what's that? It's like a pin and swivels. About, well, less than 90 underneath. Nice pivot. We'll get into this in robot, or the super robot mode. Up, forwards and back. Foot can come out, can kind of go in. Future transformation. Right. Stand up for me, please. There we go. The old bomber has more articulation. All the way forwards. That's about as far as it will go backwards. Like so. Knee can go forwards and backwards, and has a double joint, so it can go like this far up pretty much. Pivot, toe joint. This is on a swivel. Ball jointed thumb, pinned fingers. Is wiggle, swivel, bend at the arm or the elbow. You can get a butterfly out of this. We can also get a butterfly out of that. I'll show you that in a second. This is on separate swivels, so this whole thing has got a pin that's not locked in any way. So you can rotate the wings and the arms separately. This ratchets can go all the way out for a T-pose. Head is a standard Titan Master head. Pretty simple. As I said, this guy has a butterfly, future transformation, and that actually looks really good. Now, it doesn't look good when you look at it from here, but there is a little bit of detail in there. Okay. Super mode. We can finally end this. Right. Prepare this guy for super mode. Take accessories off. The heel spur up on both of these. Arms extend. Now you want to get these smokestacks in because he didn't have them out in his super mode in the cartoon, I don't believe, from all the screenshots I've seen. So we're going to bring those in. They do have notches that will go in those pegs. Alright. Make sure it's all solid. I'm actually going to take this off just for ease of access. Okay, so he's ready. I'm going to lay him down because I'm going to knock him over otherwise. Alright. This guy. Take this off, you unfold it completely, bring the thumb in, and like so. Make sure that's fully extended because you're going to bring it in like this now. So before, okay, no, before it was like this, my bad. But now we're going to bring it in like this, so it's further down. that. Like so. Make sure it's all in line. And then this will do that eventually, but when we combine, take the added pieces off. Just came off. Take his head off. Take these out. These are combiner ports, by the way, so you can put any limbs that you want in there. That's a really fun feature. We'll do these parts next. So these are like this. Bring it in. Bring that out. We'll get to those in a second. You don't actually have to bring those in, you just... Nope, you do. Because that goes like, what am I doing wrong? I'm doing something wrong and I'm confusing myself. I see what I'm doing wrong. These are actually going to go like this. There you go. So you're going to have... I had it like this, which is for base mode. You're going to just bring it so it's flat. Because these are going to be the feet. Anyone that's messed with this figure knows about this bit. We're going to take off the upgrade parts again, because I do want to show what this looks like and how it is pretty much without the upgrade parts on. This upgrade piece in particular is hard to get off. I'm doing this off camera because I don't want to break it. Because like I said before, Perfect Effect aren't the most you know, solid pieces. Don't use like palm or anything. It's all styrene, which can get a little thin and fragile sometimes. You want to fold that down. Make sure it's clipped in. So this is kind of like how it was before, except this panel was up. I'm going to actually like separate this. These are going to swing up. And then we're going to do this. Now, we'll get back to this. Because we're going to start combining the other limbs, the easier limbs. So, feet. You want to have these up. Right? You want to have it as up as possible. And then clip back. Red bits clip in here. Get this on camera. It is a challenge, but it is on. And you have these wheels like this. Same shit for the other side. Oh god, can't really do that with one finger. And clicks in. About as inwards as you can get. We'll get to this in a minute. Alright. Bring these down, because you're going to need the space. These clip in the back and in the front. That's how it goes. You bring it back. Here's the peg that goes in the front. Here's the clip that goes in the back. Pretty simple. Smoothest part of this whole combination. Okay. Now for the annoying part. Okay. There are two modes. There are two ways. Well, not modes, but there are two ways to do this. One is... we're going to take this, fold this in, and fold this in as well. And let's see, how does it go? I believe it goes like this. Yes. Now I'm not going to go through each of these steps individually because this gets confusing. I've kind of got it down to muscle memory now, but even the instructions are very confusing. I'm doing that in the wrong mode. There you go, like so. So the reason why you're doing this is because you're going to peg these together in the middle, and this is actually quite solid, but there is a problem with this, and you'll see that in a second. And you want to make sure that's as flat as possible. So take your prime, your Jinrai, your power Jinrai, slap it on the front. There are multiple bits where it pegs in here, and then these back bits clip in. It's easier said than done. One of these has more problems than the other. There we go. You might need to re-plug these in together. Oh boy. And that is the official combined mode. Oh god, that is very not good. Okay, I'm gonna come back now so you can actually see this. So this is the official combine mode. I haven't got any of the accessories on just yet, but you can see it doesn't quite look right, does it? And I'm just gonna double check the instructions that this is the official combine mode, which I'm pretty sure it is. Yep. The instructions do kind of make it look better with the guns on the shoulders, which I'm gonna have to get up this so they actually show this, which doesn't look bad actually. Yeah, doesn't look horrible, but it just looks too off, doesn't it? The wings are too high, they're too short in, so we're going to fix that. Take these off again. We're actually going to take this whole section off. Comes off a lot easier than it goes on. And then we're going to basically, I can come back around the camera. Right. Okay. This section you want to actually swing it so it's like this. This will now allow you to swing this around like 360. You want to bring these up, this like that, and then this in. And that gives you a much more flush and bigger wing. It does have this bit on the top, but that looks fine compared to what it was before. These bits kind of peg in, but they don't quite. It's actually part of the Quad Bomber's vehicle transformation we're using here. Like so. And this is very hard to describe and show, but there we go. Now we're going to put that back on, make your Jinrai, and you'll look a lot better now. And there you go. And doesn't that look a lot better? I think it does. Let's get these in here so you can still do the whole shoulder cannons. Like so. You can still do that bit. I'm not going to do that though, because you're actually meant to have his giant missile on here, which we're actually going to put like that, and like that. It's a little bit floppy. just like his knees, which is what these parts are for. And these are a godsend for a god bomber, or a god general, I should say. Let's just get those upgrade parts on, because he is not going to stand otherwise. So for the back of the legs, we're going to actually open this section up this way. Alright, so this one is going to go on here, forwards, and that is going to peg back together. This acts as a thing to stop this whole section falling backwards. Same thing for the other one. Like so. There we go. Could be a little difficult because there are some things that need to line up. But once you get it, it's certainly a lot more solid. Okay. There you go. A lot more stable now. And you can see what I was talking about with the gun. Now it's a bit back heavy, but that's what I meant by the gun being floppy. Okay. Right, let's see, he's got his other weapons which interact and the other upgrade parts, so you've got these parts now, which come full circle. And peg him in the wings and make it look much bigger, much bigger. Turn his eyes on. What were your shoulder cannons, which can still go in there, will go in his ankles now. His robot, sorry if I'm getting in the way. I know I'm in the way. There you go. His original robot mode ankles are his new ankles, which means he has really giant feet now. Right, this giant sword. Of course you can hold it. I'm going to show you how it goes in the back first before I put it in his hand. The smaller peg, this one, not this one, or this one, goes in these screw holes in the back. Now, it'll be a little tight, but it will go in there. And it looks like he has an overslung sword on his back, which looks quite cool. You can have his headmasters inside. Now that isn't the most secure connection, unfortunately. So usually I just like to have him holding his sword. These guns peg together. Go in his hand. This gun, I just put in that foot in the back, or there's actually another peg. There's another peg in the back here. This blue one. I need to put it in there. And that's pretty much the Super God Bomber, or Super God Generate. And he looks cool. He looks very cool. Looks very cool. Okay, one more thing. These go on the very ends of his gun. It's usually how I display it. This is normally how I have him displayed. Like this. Not with his eyes on normally because it's battery and all of that. But this is normally how I have him displayed. And he looks awesome. He can pose while still has pretty much all of his posability, only a little bit hindered by the stuff in his back. I do normally, if I can find it, have something under this to stop it flopping down, because that really does bug me, and it is really unfortunate. that is pointing down all the time. So if you want it like that, you're going to have to put something in there, which is what I usually do. I can't find that right now. I just use a piece of folded up paper, but you can also use like thumbtack, like an invisible, like clear rubber band. Here we go. So I'm gonna, make that red at some point, just like that. And there you go. There is Super Godjinrai, and he is a very cool figure, especially with the upgrade kit. I'm gonna get in closer now for the comparisons, I guess. No, I'm sure probably shouldn't do this. Here we go. Alright. There he is, next to Overlord, and he actually scales pretty well in this mode. Now before, without the upgrade stuff, he was about head to head. On his smaller mode, he was up to around here, which is, from what I've seen, all seems correct size wise, so I'm very happy with how it looks and how this figure came out. And these two do look very, very cool next to each other. Very cool. And I love this figure. Now, if you want to get yourself one of these, shouldn't be too hard to get a LG42, LG35 or the LG EX set, but it will cost a lot of money. The LG EX set, which is a lot rarer than the separate releases, is going to be, I'd say, like $200 US. You can find it cheaper, of course, but that's on average how much I would expect to see it go for. Now, the actual Perfect Effect upgrade sets, you can get the first two, the Gold Bomber upgrade set and the miniature cab. You can get those two fairly common. You can get the miniature cab in its alternative release. It's different colours, slightly different moulding. I think it still interacts with this though. But if you want to get the set with the light up head and the light up eyes, and you want to get the set that has the little dude in it, those come together, that's going to be the hardest one to find. Now, I was very lucky to find someone even selling one, and I had to buy an entire second set of the figures just so I could have that to go with this figure, which led me to customizing them, and I'm really happy with how they look in the end. But if you want to get that figure, you probably won't be able to get it, at least until they do a re-release. I don't know, or I don't think they will ever do a re-release, because this figure is not being produced anymore. Anyone still has them, it's old stock. If any retailers have them. If you're buying it off eBay, of course it's gonna, someone's got it ages ago and hasn't opened it or whatever. But the smaller figure, like the Perfect Effect upgrade kit, like the small one, not this one. Like I said, this one you could probably get pretty simply for a decent price. The one that comes with the wings and the filler there, which I think is a must for this figure. Again, you're going to find that pretty simply, but this one, I don't think anyone's even selling them anymore. I've seen plenty of people looking to buy this set, the PC-15, the Perfect Effect 15 upgrade kit. If you can find it, I would buy it at maximum price of, say, on its own. If you buy it, I would say the maximum price you'll pay would be like $200. That's how these things are hard to find. If you buy it With the other figures or the other upgrade sets, I could say you could pay up to, like, you could buy the whole set or the figures or the upgrades together, 500 plus US. Like, this thing is very cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's very, very cool. It's very, I wouldn't say unique. I guess it is unique though, because you haven't really had anything like this when it refers to the main line. We haven't had something this true to the original set and the cartoon or the anime in the main line, or, you know, by third party. I mean, we've had third party figures that are completely like headmasters. We've had a few Brassmasters. I think we've had a few Power Masters as well. But we haven't had something like this, which interacts with the main line as an upgrade kit before. And we haven't really had anything since. Even including, you know, this guy here, you know, he hasn't really had an upgrade kit by anyone. And, you know, I was able to get this at the same time as the LGEX set a few years ago. When Big Bad Toy Store still have stock, when they did still have stock of this. I think they still have stock of some of these. I mean, like I said, probably will be older stock now. Get it while it lasts. I mean, it's a really cool figure. If I had to choose between these two, it's very, very tough. If you're a really big Overlord fan, definitely get this. In fact, I would recommend getting this and the worldwide release, the Japanese and the standard release. I'll get both of them, because they can combine. I still kind of want to get the standard release of this so I can combine them and have the super mode, which, let's see, we can actually show that off real quick. In the comic book, it actually shows you with them. This isn't it's more of a manga, but, you know, it actually shows when combined, and it's pretty cool. This is from, you know, their continuation of the G1 continuity. Like, this is all one continuity, and yeah, you know, Japan, different culture, you know. I can't explain some of it. No, this set's very cool. Definitely would recommend getting at least some of it if you can. Now, there is something else on the horizon. There is a true Power Master set coming out. I mean, we've had Power Master Prime, we've had, you know, third party companies doing their Power Master Prime. But we've got a really, like, truthful, honest version that's very faithful to the original. To the original cartoon. It has options for the cartoon and Japanese and for the comic books. And that's Keys Fantasy Club's Power Master or God Jinrai set. It's not really coming out as a set, they're coming out individually, which is a business decision entirely, and it is adding up. It's expensive. I'm sorry, I'm yelling so much. I've been talking quite a lot. It's a complete set, and it's quite expensive if you do get it as a complete set. I mean, you can buy them, you know, some, I think Shozi's letting you buy them all together, or pre-order them all together. But I'll definitely be getting that. That is a beautiful looking set of figures that will hopefully put this guy in the dust and let people get this masterpiece scaled and looking stunning all at the same time. Until then, this stuff will hold me over. This stuff will always be in my heart in some way, because I love how this all plays. We don't know how, like, durable, how well the KFC set will play out. Hopefully it'll be, you know, just as solid as this and more solid than this, you know, especially with things like that, and the feet and the ankles and all of that. And tell you what, I'd also love to see KFC do like a truthful Overlord as well to go along with it, because we had some other companies do Overlord G1 figures, so I'd like to see. I don't believe KFC's done one, but KFC's doing their Optimus, the Power Master, Optimus Prime, the greatest leader of his time, and all of that. and the Jinrai stuff and the Gold Bomb stuff. It just looks so good. This looks great too. But that'll pretty much wrap things up. It's been quite a long one. Hope you've enjoyed it. I mean, it's my first attempt at doing like a proper live review. I'll probably want to do some more of these in the future. You know, this is it's a little bit easier to do. You know, all things considered. I'll definitely be a bit more organised next time. You know, I won't be digging through my shit to get my instructions. And next, I don't know what I'll do next for a review. I mean, next up live will be games, but for a review, you know, there's a lot of things in here. You know, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of Gunpla here. There's some figures. There's some Bionicles up there. And then over here, we've got Masterpiece figures. We've got like some mainline Earthrise and all of that shit. And then over here, we got more Masterpieces and some more Gundams and some Lego stuff. So definitely a lot of things to choose from, a lot of things to review. So we'll try and do something different next time. You know, maybe we'll do another Gundam. It's been a while since I reviewed a Gundam. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me, especially if you've watched all the way through to the end. What are you doing in your life? Well, if you have made it this far, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, Twitch, YouTube, all of that shit. You know where to find me by now, hopefully. Bye.